Well, this one will probably get me in a bit of trouble, but it's an interesting topic, and I've purposely avoided speaking to anyone about it, and some of the stuff I say in here is going to be assumptions about what is going on, but I thought it was an interesting topic enough to talk about it. So recently the Paris roster legion, or the alleged Paris roster, leaked onto Twitter and Reddit and so on and so forth, and safe to say some people, especially on Reddit, weren't happy with it. But it's an interesting thing for me here because there's been a lot of talk on the off-season, and I haven't commented on it too much, but about what Paris are doing and how Paris are building their roster, and snide comments from members of the community about how they're not spending anything or not building a winning team or don't know what they're doing. Well, I feel like Paris do know what they're doing. They're just not doing what you expect them to do. Yeah, the roster is interesting. I'm sure many people aren't happy with some of the aspects of it. It's still got some good players on it. Realistically, in the off-season, Paris could have pretty much done whatever they wanted. There is an abundance of talent currently still out there. So many players who could be in the league because we've gone down in terms of player size from the teams, because we've gone from 5 to 4 and only usually one sub. Lots of players on the open market. Paris decided, you know what? Or this is, or at least this is all from now, basically me assuming what has happened. Paris have decided, you know what, we can wait. We don't need to do anything right now. We can just see who we can pick up. Because here's the thing. Only one team can win the league at the end of the year, right? Only one team can do it. Everybody else is not going to win the league. They may win some homestands or whatever. It's not one of these games where everybody can do well. So do you spend the maximum amount of money and try to get a championship team? It doesn't look like Paris have gone that route. I can't really blame them. You can pick up a middling team this year for very little money and try and get some competitiveness in. Are they going to go for branding and try to build a bit of a brand around some big players and figure out how they're going to go there? Well, they've not really gone into the French market and tried to get these players. We know people like Hydra have not gone into Paris Legion, which some people were expecting, but Paris obviously didn't want to pay the money to do that, or that is not part of their plan this year either. And you might be sitting there going, well, that's stupid, that's what they should be doing. And I can agree with you in that. I can certainly say, you know what, yes, that's probably the best way to build your brand, but apparently Paris are not doing that. And the reason for this video is to explain that is okay in a sense, okay? Paris do not need to blow lots of money out the window to achieve very little. They didn't achieve a ton last year. They spent decently. They had some okay players. At the start of the season, everybody shit on Paris from a great height. 12th, 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 12th. Weren't 12th at the end of the season. Certainly had some good results and certainly upset a few people, right? So they probably spent less than a few other teams and did better than them. Xiao, for example. You got to remember that this is not a short-term thing, right? You don't win the league and that's it, you've won Call of Duty. It is a multi-year continuance of a return of investment. Lots of franchises in this league are not here because they love Call of Duty. They are here because they are an investment for whatever group is controlling them at the moment. They want to make money in the long term. Paris is obviously one of these as well, and they've decided that this is the best way to continue moving forward at this time. I don't know what the Paris players have been paid. I can't imagine it is an absolute bag for any of them. I imagine it's very reasonable or quite low, okay? It's a late signing. They can get onto it, whatever. They've still got big names like Scraps. I mean, Scraps is probably the biggest name on that team. A lot of people wanted to see him play this year. People are upset Waskins isn't in the team. I can understand if you are a fan of those players, okay? That's fine. But just think realistically. If Paris have spent quite low this year and the team doesn't work out, well, they've got free opportunity to bring in whoever they want. There is still an absolute ton of players out there. You can bring in basically anyone. If they wanted to, 2 months into this, whenever the next roster changes, because we haven't got everything laid out for us yet, they could just sub their whole team out, bring in a whole new team on the minimum contracts, and have another go. Find out who's good in challenges. We've got the scouting series to go. We've got to see all these players and subs about to play. Who's good this year? We've got, you know, the most competitive challenges we have seen in a long time. Plenty of pros, plenty of big teams being formed in that challenges. There's no reason Paris can't transfer players in during the year. These players aren't going to be locked down. They're not going to be unobtainable. They're just going to be there ready to be taken and want to get into the league, so you can pay them whatever you want. Paris could change their roster completely this year and still be well under spending. It's not a terrible... Don't get me wrong, I get it. I get why people are upset, right? I understand that everybody should be trying to win. It's a competitive nature. And everybody should be trying to build their brand to the biggest possible. But there is other ways. Someone says it's a little bit like Moneyball, right? You ever watch that? They talk about, who is the most value for money and players that are undervalued and can still put on. I think it's on base. I don't really understand baseball in in America, but the film Moneyball around baseball, it kind of explains like the Oakland A's don't have the budget of the bigger teams, so they have to try and kind of work the numbers and figure out a more efficient method of getting players. Now, I'm not saying Paris are doing that, but it is a comparison I can make because they have the option this year. There is an option to wait a little while to figure out who's good, to figure out what direction you want to go. They've picked up some half-decent players. I don't know how well they're going to do in the league. They certainly look like they're going to be a lower half team at the moment, but they could surprise us. There's still talent there. We don't know how this is going to play out when the year comes. But even being a lower half team, allegedly, lots of options for Paris. A ton of options. They can wait. They could pick up an entire new team in 2 months, and they could be the best challenger team in the game, and everybody's singing their praises, and, this is a great move. They've done so smart. They've picked up some great rookies, or they've picked up, Parasite, who's done great. Wuski's now in the team because Wuski's been killing it in challenges, or they needed to fill in the spot, and, he's straight in. They can pick up anybody because those players on that team, I don't think they're, sitting there going, we're locked in for the whole year. You're not going to see the same Paris team at the end of the year that you saw at the start of the year. I just can't see that happening. And while I can sit here and make excuses for Paris, it's not about making excuses. It's about realising that there are different ways to approach this league. We spoke last year about Toronto Ultra going for that full 10-man roster, right? 2 full teams of 5, and they can kind of go in and out. People criticised them. People thought they didn't do, it was stupid. They didn't get any star players. Well, they won a homestand, and, Champs wasn't as great as it could have been, but that's still a big win to win their homestand. That's a big achievement for the franchise. From something that nobody thought would work. But they made it work. And they had all those players. There isn't just one way. There is not just one way to be in this league, and it is not always you have to win and throw as much money down the drain. Most teams will be doing that. Most teams will be trying to win and get the very best players. Some teams haven't done that. Some teams go for a brand, right? Some teams want to figure out the way forward and who can we pick up and how do we get the best possible team. Well, the best possible team is not always the best possible team to win. It may be just the best possible team for the franchise. Maybe you get great content creators, or maybe you get somebody who is the face of a brand, and you keep him even if he is not a superstar because people engage with him, and that grows your brand, and you stick great people around them, right? Take Dallas Empire, right? At the start of their year, everybody thought Shotzi was a hell of a risk. Crazy risk to come in. Now, I'm not saying Paris are going to pull the same move, but I am saying you've got to be aware that there are different ways to do this. Okay, it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot of, and I think if they were more open about it, maybe that would help. Maybe Paris could explain it better. And I know people are moaning about the friendship league. I saw things on Reddit about Theory and Goonjar and why they're on the team together and all this sort of stuff. Well, I don't know the inner workings of it. I've purposely not gone and asked anyone I know because I don't want to know the inner workings. Because if I knew the inner workings of what the reason was, I then couldn't talk about it honestly with you. So you've got to bear in mind that this stuff it has very real consequences, and there is obviously other things going in. Paris clearly have a strategy for the year. And we will find out what that is, right? We will figure out exactly what needs to happen for them to be a competitive team. And are they going to change rosters? Are they just, this is a team for now? Well, the only way to find out is to watch the Call of Duty League this year. And I'll be keeping an eye on them. And I'm sure we're going to see many more hot takes when that roster gets officially announced or whatever happens. I'm looking forward to it in the very least. Let's see. All right. Well, this has been a video. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm sure I'm going to get some flack for this one, but thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.